Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Loving Little Learners. This video is to show you guys my two top favorite digital whiteboards to use during remote learning. And I'll tell you the difference of each of these whiteboards and why I would recommend them for certain grade levels. So the first one that I am going to go over is Classroom Screen. And this is a really, really good interactive whiteboard that has tons of features that you guys can all use. And the second interactive digital whiteboard that I'm going to go over is Jamboards, which is a Google feature. They have a lot of cool options, and your students are able to jump on and add in their own thoughts and their own answers to this. So again, I'll show you why I would recommend each of these two whiteboards for specific grade levels and show you how to use them both. Stay tuned. The first interactive digital whiteboard that I want to show you guys is Classroom Screen. And I recommend Classroom Screen for the younger grades, maybe pre-K through second, where your students do not have as much freedom as far as technology goes. They don't have the ability to kind of go in between different apps or know how to navigate the internet as well as some of the upper grades do. And Classroom Screen is going to be where you are mainly just sharing your screen with your students and you don't want them to interact. You're just using it as your teaching whiteboard. So Classroom Screen, I would definitely recommend for pre-K through second grade again. So if you go to classroomscreen.com, you'll wind up on a page that looks very similar to this. Your background will look different. And here on the bottom, you'll see a bunch of different options and features that Classroom Screen gives you. Now, I'm really happy that I waited to do this video because Classroom Screen just came up with a new button here, the media feature, that has tons of great options for remote learning. So I'll go over that in a bit. The first button you'll see is background, where you can go ahead and click here and choose whatever different background you want. You can add in your own background. So if you have like a custom background that has your teacher name or something that looks similar to your classroom, you can choose that. They have animated backgrounds and color options on the bottom. Something else that you can do is choose this button and you can make a webcam background so that literally the whole screen is you, and it could be whatever you're presenting or whatever you're teaching, and then you can add in the different features on top of your webcam. So that's really cool. That's a really cool feature to use if you're using your space wherever you're teaching to have, different anchor charts or manipulatives or things that you're using interactively as you're teaching. So again, just choose whatever you want, and that will go ahead and generate as the background. The next thing that is really cool is this over here. It's the last button, and it says calendar. So if you click here, you will see a calendar pop up, and automatically gives you the entire month, but you can go ahead and click and then just drag it up like this so that you can just display the date for your students in the corner so that whenever they're writing or they're doing a worksheet, they have the date there to go ahead and add to their papers. Same with the clock. You guys can go ahead and choose on the clock button, and your students can always see what time it is. So you can change for 12 hours or 24 hours. And again, just have these up in the corner as good resources for our students to refer back to as they are completing their work. The next thing I want to show you guys is the media feature. So the media feature comes with three options. If you go ahead and click here, you can see the image button where you can go ahead and insert an image from your computer like so. I can just choose what I want and drop it in. And then I can use this image to go ahead and ask my students questions and talk to them about their answers. So this is just an image from one of my morning meeting resources. And this is a question that says, tell me what you're looking forward to this summer. So I can go ahead and use this alongside with the random name selector if I don't have time to get through my entire class. And so you can go ahead and insert all of your students' name, your entire roster here, and choose which student you want to share the answer to this question. So I can say now it's Bunny's turn to answer this question for me and share out with the class. A cool feature that goes along with the random name selector is if you go here to the little settings button, you can choose an option to remember the students that were already chosen so that they don't get called on more than once in a setting or a day. So you can see Bunny was just chosen, so she's not going to be chosen again. You can also change the background color of your random name selector as well. And keep it there in the corner. For every little feature, you guys can resize and move it around however you'd like. Another good feature or way to use this media feature is to go and add in an image again. And I'm going to go ahead and grab one from my computer. And this image has to do with kind of like a worksheet that is a little more interactive. So I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger. And this is just a number fluency worksheet. So it's called Ready, Set, Roll. And I can use this alongside another feature on Classroom Screen here that is called Dice. So if I open up Dice, I can see there's going to be an option for 1 dice, 2, and 3 die. So I can go ahead and move this over to the side. I can choose another student. And now it is Dog's turn. And I can go ahead and roll my dice and say, okay, it's Dog's turn to read all of the numbers that go along with number 4. And so Dog would go ahead and unmute themselves and go ahead and read for me in the class if we're working on number recognition. So that's just another way to use a couple of different features. I'm using the image feature, I'm using the random name selector, and now the dice. So those are some options. Let me go ahead and get rid of this so we can clear up our screen. And then I'm going to go click on media again. There's even more options here. So now you can add in YouTube. So I can go grab a link from YouTube and just press this little button. And then it's going to bring up my YouTube video. So this is going to bring up a SciShow Kids video about the science of fall. So let's say that I want my students to and watch this video. We can watch it together. And then I can go ahead and use this text feature where I can now have a whiteboard to go over all of the different things that my students learned from the video. So I can say, what did you learn? And then pose that as a question and go ahead and add in my students' responses with bullet points, and we can make it a anchor chart essentially from what they learned from this video. You can do the same with sight words, anything that you want. Something else that is cool with this media button is if you click here, you can see the last option says webcam. So my webcam is closed at the moment, so you're just going to see a black screen, but this would be your face. This would be your face teaching. So if you're going over ways to use manipulatives while counting or adding, you can go ahead and show your students what you're doing while you are sharing this screen. And then when it's time for them to do the work themselves, so let's say in your video camera, you're showing them and modeling that something to do, then you can go ahead and use this traffic light button. And you can go ahead and say, now it is your turn to go ahead and complete the work while your light is green. While your light turns yellow, you can start to finish up your work. And then when it's red, we're going to stop and share out. And then again, use this random name selector. So tons of different features and ways to use this. You can also use the timer or a stopwatch to, again, show your students how much work time that they have left. And then you can also go in and use this drawing tool. So I will admit this drawing tool is not the greatest. It does not draw as smooth as Jamboards does, but I will show you guys how you can use this. You can make anything bigger. So if I just go ahead and drag out, and let's say I wanted to just go ahead and write a question for my students, like an equation. So let's go ahead and just click on the pen, and then you can choose whatever color you want. So let's go ahead and choose red. And I can write in my question or my equation. So I can say 2 plus 4 equals what? And then I'm going to give my students that traffic light again so that they can see. Go ahead and work. Okay, now start to wrap up. And now we're going to stop and share out. So again, this visual is just very helpful for those younger kiddos of when they are doing whatever it is that you want them, if you want them working or stopping to share. Again, with this little drawing feature, if you click, you'll have some more options. You can erase, you can undo, redo. There's different thicknesses of the lines that you guys can use. So I can choose to make a really thick line here. And again, just play around with it, and then you can see it's not the smoothest way to write, but it definitely does the job. And being able to use these different features all together makes this website and this interactive digital whiteboard well worth everything. There's tons of different things that you can use on here. You can open up multiple of these drawing boards, multiple of these writing boards, and use them all together. If you guys want your buttons gone, you can just go ahead and press this little arrow and you have even more workspace to work with. If you go over here to your home button, you guys can personalize your work screen by going to personalize here. You can create your rosters. So with the free version, you have up to 3 different rosters where I can add in all of my students' names and have those already ready to go. And down here is a really cool option because you can disable widgets that you're not using. So if I never want to use a QR code scanner, which I don't foresee myself using, I'll just drag it to the disabled widgets row. If I don't want to use the sound level because my students are not in the physical classroom at the moment, we're just remote learning, I can drag that out. And now it's not going to be taking up room on my whiteboard. So once I customize it to how I want, I can go ahead and just open up my screen again and go back to what I was working on. You guys can also plan ahead by making more screens. So I can just add a screen here and make an additional screen where I can have all of my math exercises and resources ready to go. And this can be one for ELA. I can continue to do the same for science and so on. So you guys can definitely use Classroom Screen to plan ahead. And once I open it back up, everything is just how I left it. I can exit things out and basically just have a workspace customized to whatever I want. So again, Classroom Screen is amazing. You can use this for any grade level, but I definitely recommend using it for the younger grades where you are sharing your screen and going over different content and where you can have these visuals that are very helpful to show your students. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you Jamboard and how to use this resource. So Jamboard is the second digital interactive whiteboard that I wanted to show you guys. And this is a part of the Google Suite. So if you look on the little waffle cone on your Google Chrome homepage, you can get to Jamboard that way. Or you can also just type in jamboard.google.com and connect it to your Gmail account. So once you are in Jamboard, you have a couple of different options. On the left-hand side, you can see all of the different features. There's a pen tool that comes with different pen options like a paintbrush, a highlighter, and then you can choose through 6 different options for colors. There's an eraser button, a select tool, sticky notes. You can add in an image or a shape. You can add in text or use a laser pointer. So I created this Jamboard just to kind of sort different needs and wants. And I'm going to tell you guys 2 ways that you can use something like this. So I just use the shape tools to make the boxes, the text tools to make the font and the titles. And I inserted in some emoji symbols by just using the text tool and right-clicking and clicking on emoji and symbols. So what we can do if your students are not able to go ahead and navigate their technology well enough to come into your Jamboard themselves, you guys can just share the screen with your students and have them tell you how to sort the different options here. So we can say that a bike is just a want, a home is a need, a shelter is a need, a pet is a want, and continue to go through that as a class and sort those different items that way. I can also use this Jamboard in a way that's a little more interactive for our students. So I'm recommending Jamboards for any grades, 3rd grade and higher, that feel comfortable enough to navigate their technology on their own, because there's an option to share your Jamboard with your students. So if you go over here to the share button, you can share that link with your students and they can come in and add in their responses on their own, that's exactly what makes Jamboard really cool. So you can have your students, instead of sorting these items on the bottom, come in to the Jamboard and you can have them click on a sticky note. So on the sticky note, they can go ahead and say that a shelter is a need, and they can add in their response and move it into the correct category. And you can have them all come in and add in their response. You can have them use something more specific. You can also have them add their name to the response if you would like, or you can keep it completely anonymous. But this is just a really fun way for your students to get in to the whiteboard and share their responses themselves. Obviously, when you're doing something like that, you need to make sure that you set up expectations and appropriate ways to use this, because obviously when you're giving a platform like this, you're opening up the opportunity for students to share things that are not appropriate. So just go ahead and make sure that you guys go over that routine and expectations and how to, act properly on the internet and when you're sharing different things, and how that's a privilege. So go ahead and make sure that you go over those things first, because this is a really, really fun way to use Jamboard. We use this in our staff meetings. Just about anytime we have a staff meeting where we have some type of prompt where we all go into Jamboard and add in, our little comments. So it's really fun to just create a community and bring everyone together and have the students become a little more interactive with whatever you're doing. So if you come here, you can go open up another Jamboard by just clicking on the arrow. And here is a screenshot from a morning meeting again, where if you don't have enough time to just go over the morning meeting, or you don't have the 20 minutes in the morning to have everybody share, you can take that screenshot and then drop it into your Jamboard and have all of your students at once go ahead and respond. So tell me something you're looking forward to this summer, and they can say swimming in my pool and save it. And then you can add all of the responses around your question. So that's really fun because, again, all your students get to interact and you get to hear from them all. Something that's really fun is that you can go to more actions here and you can save this frame as an image or download it as a PDF. So once everyone responds tomorrow or the next day, you can go ahead and share out everyone's answer if they didn't get a chance to do it themselves. You can also use this as a compliment board, as a shout out board, where students get to come and say something nice about each other. So there's endless ways to use Jamboard. You guys can simply just use it as a whiteboard where you're just using the pen feature and, drawing what it is. So again, 2 + 4 equals, and have the students go ahead and give in their answers, or you can just go through it on your own. So tons of options. There's not as many features as Classroom Screen, and there's not as many visual graphics to look at. So you really have to think about what it is that you want from your digital whiteboard. Do you want your students to be able to interact, or do you want those visual cues and visual features for your younger grades? But again, these are my 2 most favorite digital whiteboards to use with my students. I personally use Classroom Screen the most because I teach kindergarten, and my students aren't able to navigate technology as well as some of the older kids are. So my favorite go-to is Classroom Screen. But if you do want to interact with your students and have them a part of your lesson and share their responses, I would definitely recommend Jamboard. And Jamboard, you can actually open up straight from Google Meet, which is a really, really cool feature as well. So check out these 2 resources. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any other great whiteboard recommendations that we can share with everybody else as well. And again, thank you guys for watching my video. Stay tuned for the next one. Go ahead and press like and subscribe to my channel, Loving Little Learners. Thank you so much.